Don't give me fire, give me double shot and time.
It was the regular season finale for the SRA K&N Throwback Series that came to the Homestead Miami Speedway for race number 11, the last race before the start of the chase. It was Bobby Cheney on the pole with Jared Darling second, Benjamin Nelson third, Demi Olat fourth, and Mark Newland around the top five as the field went around the Homestead Miami Speedway for 130 laps. Cheney would get the lead in the exit of turn 4 over Jared Darling, but then at lap number 7, Femi Olat was making his charge. He got to Cheney on the inside in turn number 3, but he and Cheney make contact entering turn 3. They both save it, and Jared Darling goes right through the middle, and he would take the race lead from Femi Olat on the beginning of lap number 8. And then further back away, there was a 3-car fight for third between Connor Anton, Benjamin Nelson, Colton Davis, and Ariati. And in fact, Davis makes it 3 wide, Audi nearly makes it 4 wide. The cooler heads would prevail and they would continue on. In fact, there would be a 4-car fight for second as Femi Olat was starting to fall back to the clutches of Anton, Davis, and Ariati. They go side by side in the exit of turn number 2 as they go 2 by 2 down the back straightaway. Anton on the outside, Olat stays on the inside line. And eventually, when this battle sorts out, Ariati would get to the number 2 spot. And then at number 30, he would get to the inside of Jared Darling, going for the lead on the exit of turn 2. He and Darling go side by side, and eventually Audi would take over the race lead as some of the front runners would start to make their green flag pit stops. And that's where we start getting a difference in strategy. Connor Anton and Nick Northrup were among the few drivers staying out on a longer stint. They would eventually pit on lap number 43, and that would give the lead over to Bobby Zielinski, but he was under attack from Ariati on lap number 47. Audi with a terrific run, the exit turn number 2, and he would reclaim the lead, that being on lap number 57 of the race. So then on lap number 86, when we start the pit cycle once again, Connor Anton was in the lead, but he and Nick Northrup would come in on lap number 86. And while they were pitting, Bobby Zielinski and Ariati was still having a fight for the lead. On number 88, he would get inside Zielinski and retake over the race lead. But then those two would pit on lap number 100, and that was set the fight to the finish. You go to lap number 122. Audi and Zielinski were going to the inside of Connor Anton in turn 1 and 2. They already passed Northrup. They would split Anton in the middle 1 and 2. But because Zielinski went low, that allowed Audi to get a huge run out of turn 2. Zielinski comes down and nearly hits Audi, and he would hang on to the race lead for now. But then 2 laps later, Audi gets back inside Zielinski in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He claims the lead as he slides in front. Zielinski tried to cross him over, and they would go side by side for a couple of laps. But eventually, Ariati's better tires on the long run would be too much for Bobby Zielinski to handle. As those two sorted out the battle, it would be Ariati coming out of turn number 4, and he would claim the win at the Homestead Miami Speedway in the final race of the regular season for the SRA K&N Throwback Series. The final results were Ariati, Bobby Zielinski second, Connor Anton comes home third, Nick Northrup, Jesse Schwartz, Jared T. Darling, Colton Davis, Benjamin Nelson, Josh Robin, and Femi Olat would round out the top 10 after Homestead. And of course, your top 12 would be set for the SRA K&N Throwback Series. It would be Ariati, Kyle Putz, Jesse Schwartz, Bobby Zielinski, Bobby Cheney, Delonte Ballard, Nicholas Caressel, Nick Northrup, Eric Sable, Connor Anton, Jared Darling, and Austin Ramos rounds out the field for the top 12 as the chase begins in Martinsville.
This is Steve Evans. The Diamond P Video Library is your source for the excitement and emotions of America's sports. Our National Hot Rod Association Championship Drag Racing Series takes you to the Gator Nationals, the Cajun Nationals, the Spring Nationals, the U.S. Nationals, and the World Finals. Our American Sports Cavalcade Series travels the country, bringing you the best and uniquely American sports. Among those sports are NASCAR racing from the Dover 500 and the Marty Robbins 420, IndyCar racing from Road America, World of Outlaw sprint cars from Jacksonville and Eldora, tractor pulls, swamp buggy racing, hydroplanes from the Clear Lake Regatta, professional rodeos from Greensboro, and the Youth National Rodeo Finals. Our IMSA Motorsports Series follows the exciting GTP, GTU, and GTO cars from Riverside to Lime Rock to Watkins Glen to Road America and to Pocono. And don't forget, Decade of Thrills, the ultimate drag racing experience. A 90-minute home video cassette exploring the best in championship drag racing, hosted by drag racing legend Don Prudhomme and myself. Call today for a complete catalog and prices. The Diamond P Video Library, your source for great American sports.
It was the same deal for the SRA Slick Daddy Gen 6 Series. They came to Dover for 150 laps, and the fight for the final chase spot would actually come down to a tiebreaker, believe it or not. It was Benjamin Nelson on the pole with Dylan C. Jones, Jonathan Shipman, Caleb Eisenhower, and Bob Zielinski the top 5. But as they go for turn number 1 and 2, Shipman and Eisenhower make contact in a bit of a bizarre fashion, and that forces a huge pileup on the back straightaway that took out a bunch of cars. Notables in the wreck were Bobby Cheney, Ariani, Eric Sable, Jared Darling, Connor Anton, among many others involved in this huge mess on lap 1. For the second race in a row, the Gen 6 Series has a big wreck on lap 1. And then on lap number 5, after a restart, there was problems with Delonte Brown. He gets loose on the back straightaway, but David Shutt gets into him, and that actually helps him. But behind them, as everyone was checking up, Lachlan McMillan spins into Josh Robin and Nicholas Caressel, and those two were fighting for a chase spot. Huge troubles for both of them. When the racing did get going, Bob Zielinski got to Benjamin Nelson on lap number 20, and he would take over the race lead, and eventually Dylan C. Jones would get by to take over the number 2 spot. And in fact, Dylan C. Jones actually wanted some more. As he got to the inside of Zielinski on lap number 3, he went way high. He took the lead briefly, but then would lose it down the back straight, and Zielinski would eventually set sail. Albeit for only a couple laps, there were more problems for Caleb Eisenhower. He gets loose in turn 4, spins on the front straightaway, doesn't hit anything, maybe makes contact someone just barely, but no harm, no foul. But the third caution would come out for that incident. And then problems for Dylan Jones on number 60. He got loose while running second, and he crashes into the wall, and he was also fighting for chase spots. That was a huge blow to his hopes. Later on, Benjamin Nelson and Femi Ola were actually having a good scrap for the number 2 spot, number 81. Those two and David Shutt were also in the mix, fighting out for the top 5. As they eventually, Benjamin Nelson would take the number 2 spot away, albeit later on. And then it was more problems for Delonte Bowles. Number 95, he got loose and crashes into the inside wall very hard. That would be the 5th caution of the race. And then, lap 101, Brett Bunkari got loose off 4, almost had it saved, but he smashes the inside retaining wall. However, he was on the apron of the racetrack, so no caution would come out as a result of that. And one driver was having a great run on the long run, especially was Jesse Schwartz. He was catching his way through the field, and he was actually getting up to Femi Ola and Benjamin Nelson. Ola would take the second spot back after their exchange with Bowles early on. And in fact, on number 144, Schwartz got to the inside of Nelson and he exited turn number 2, and they banged doors down the back straightaway, but then Nelson would let him go as Schwartz was having to bear the time saving his tires. And it looked like it was going to be a green flag finish, but with 2 laps to go, Lachlan McMillan gets loose off of 4 while battling for a top 10 spot with Cody Miller. He gives in to Miller and he spins on the front straightaway, and that would force the caution to come out with 2 laps to go. And that would mean the race would end under the caution flag as Bobby Zielinski put on a dominant performance. He would take the win at Dover National Speedway. However, there was a bizarre incident behind him. Caleb Eisenhower runs out of fuel in front of the field, and that held up the field. But fortunately for him, it would not affect the top 10 as a result of this incident. Final results were Bob Zielinski with the win, Femi Ola second, James Schwartz third, Benjamin Nelson fourth, David Shutt fifth, Zach Hudson sixth, Connor Anton seventh, Caleb Eisenhower, Cody Miller, and Josh John were out of the top 10. And in terms of the top 12 for the chase, it would be Bobby Zielinski, Connor Anton, David Shutt, Finley Olat, Ariani, Eric Sable, Jared Darling, Bobby Chain, Delonte Ballard, Cedric Hundred, Nicholas Kressel, and Josh Robin, who was tied with Cody Miller for the final spot, but he got in because he had one more top 5 than Cody did.